Rio de Janeiro, 15 November 2022, Rio de Janeiro City, RJ, Brazil. We will have a conversation, quite simple, quite clear. We will report things we made, things we are doing, and no interference. We suffer since 10 years ago until the present time. Of course, that will impact maybe third interest related not only at this time with the research that indeed disclosed and was applied at the antitrust justice, having the financial research about things made, but things made are illegal, and things illegal having result, and if it's economic result which implies values, for sure you have to abandon the traditional things you are accustomed to believe. Then you will say that the financial result of this illegal activity is something profitable. You will present this to your investor, and you will carry with dragging other areas until one specific moment will impact the showbiz. And the show business do not deserve leave the disgrace by a small and tiny group with a very tiny mind that are these those groups combined forming, a systemic mobilization of things that no one in a regular state of mind get along or go along. But by dependence and collinear association at specific types of stimulus, people started to get along with this and assume that the criminal result is a financial result. But how can you put this at your statement as financial statement? The difference between we both, it's because I cannot present my effort, my research to the judge, United States, as a not partial judge or a not corrupted court. Here in Brazil, it's very difficult. It's impossible. Problems goes from institutions, problems inside and inner problems affecting others that do not belong to those institutions, even by application of institutional control against people that has no relation with those institutions, and impacting beyond the limits of Brazil. If your other conjunctures have this, of course, that we are having the approach between things outside the limits that not belong to the internal arguments as law or standardized pattern as accreditation on business. And then you will consider that the show business can be another area to you exploit your illegal activity. In my opinion, instead of having an economic forum, you must solve problems that you are unable, you all to solve. You are bringing disgrace to the life of many people, young people, especially the youth, and the youth as big stars or anyone that should like to become big star maybe will kind of be not carrying a lot of attention, and sometimes attention of people at the same age or younger. And this will be the same concept as collinear. Collinearity activity on business, on economy, it's a collinear argument inside your structure at show business. And when many stars or big stars or sports players are doing the same kind of activity in different areas at the show business, like the sports or the singing or something like this, dancing, but they are kind of running their activity by something that will take the space as make choice little by little, and this is a suppression. And then you will, in the same way as fractal and Fibonacci, observe that this goes equally at the conjuncture that didn't respect regular and minimum patterns as accomplished legal accomplishment and standard patterns as accredited on business, and they are kind of getting integrated by things that are beyond the law in all conjunctures. But this thing beyond the law in all conjunctures that goes inside all conjunctures with total tolerance of all authorities at those conjunctures and the international committees, summits, and forums, the corruption. The corruption is the worst crime that exists, and it's even worse when made by public departments. The public corruption, in my opinion, you must consider have the ultimate punishment in the way we have as institutional failure integrated for the use as a conjuncture for criminal purpose. Indeed, you have the trust, you suppress the autonomy of the business, the individual, the citizen, the citizenship, the free will, the capacity to have thoughts, have decisions, and in the same way you put all in the same collinear spot, having this in all conjuncture, you try to guide the destiny of mankind by the rules of a minor group, and this minor group is unable to solve problems complained before, and trying to bring a new pattern as economy or business. Of course, that's, in my opinion, a fraud, a disgrace. We had, for instance, to have a contract, I would say, as a simulation. And this contract is to check if I have any kind of criminal intent in the things I do. Research my entire life. If you are, for instance, inside a trial, I had my life totally open to the judicial power. And if you are all equals at this trial until the decision of the judicial power, you must do the same, but you are unable to do this. And to make things worse, you consider use the entire structure or establishment misguided for criminal purpose to put me in a situation that do not belong to as my reality, like criminality, mafia groups, or whatever. And then you are doing this, and I would like to ask you to protect someone else, because the modification of data such the obstruction to cover crime indeed is protecting the criminals and the result of this activity. And you are unable equally to present and have the open data. And we are in the same situation in front of a court, a judge, or a judicial power with no partiality to observe the facts. You have situations like this. I have, for instance, let's suppose that I have to make a contract. And this contract is on show business. I consider have the contract with a young lady or something like this to be a model at the show business. And I will set general clauses, guideline, orders on the negotiation period as this contract while work with me as a spokesperson. Because sometimes when I talk in public, I talk kind of in an aggressive way, or I have no empathy, as people say, by the other's feeling, or I sometimes hurt people by the things or the way I talk and express things. But I consider having a spokesperson something with the kindness, sweetness, and the empathy that maybe I don't have. And then I will check that the period of this contract while work with me as spokesperson, function, spokesperson and model at the showbiz, because I wouldn't like to be, in a head carpet event or something like this. I like to live in my cave, I would say. Because there are so many risks inside my cave that you consider, go to a place like this, it's a real possibility to have a problem, and I must avoid problems by all ways, in all circumstances, especially by authorities that are unable to solve problems, complained evidence and proved a dozen times, even as real-time monitoring, blazing act, and then it's like this. Exclusive, 100% hormonal treatment because the stars in general got older and they must have, the same appearance as 15 years ago. They must do hormonal treatment, for instance, but with a medical team, not putting injection of things that you have no idea when the place of this thing is coming from, which substances on it. You must have kind of a bit of self-protection, which is the same thing as self-defense, that indeed was the entire industrial portfolio offered to the NATO as the database Sigma as a compiled data about all kinds of violence perpetrated by the misuse of institutional power, segmented by quadrants, individualized by chairs that indeed are representing institutions. Solidarity by silence in many cases, charged, made, accord with the law, waiting the legal accomplishment and the decision of a not partial judge or a not corrupted court, considering the pandemic crime and the possibility of all are involved. We are only considering at least one to declare this, have the declaration, because the case is closed, codified as guiltiness by binary values optimized to put you all in the measurement that you belong, the guiltiness. Not equally punishment, someone have the cooperation and maybe, for instance, you deserve a judicial contract or something like this, putting the life or the career as a sports player, a big star, whatever, in another level or something like this. Third interest. And then the exclusive piece as hormonal treatment, the third interest as stakeholders on law and order, respecting the Western tradition, the civilization culture, and equally the American culture from the West preamble, if we have this contract in America. General directive, respect the law and the Constitution of the United States of America, have rational accomplishment by purpose required, respecting life, freedom, and values that guide our culture since ancient time. For instance, you can't have this in Brazil because Brazil is unable to respect your basic rights, your guarantees, and will try the default by all costs, always against the legitimate self-discredit, including illegal ways. It's an advantage that you'd like to take. It's white-collar crime, the name of this. By public corruption, indeed, it's organized crime on public departments perpetrating the white-collar crime beyond and in front of the judge, the judicial power that's having this complaint, for instance, which in the moment is involved. Asians, 1% of all gains, in general, it's the Asian. Sit date for witness, 2 authorities, and 2 members of the antitrust justice, judicial condition, and right to oversight, follow-up, operate by guarantees of law and order, and any other rational need of judicial system observing the human rights and the values for development of mankind. Special clause as co-work, because we work with me, incorporated by previous circumstances, maybe a red complaint or requested, or at least issued. Proximity rule, it means it's complained, which rule is this. For instance, if you represent a dangerous for someone, you must step away some distance from these people, or have them step away and far away from you by a judicial order. Special protection by obvious circumstances. open data to the judicial system based on security plan through Federal Bureau of Investigation and peers other clauses for security. A good affair, is it a good affair? Then we will observe that this model here indeed is it's a reduction as space to do your activity at the global scenario. As business, of course, that will impact the stars. We are living this on cryptocurrency. The reality of the resource are getting on their own feet again. The pace of activity that you do on economy, considering the credit that must be equal to the capacity to cover this credit, is the idea as cash flow, and the all accountability since the ancient concepts on Italy is like this. Then we observe that by spreading credit and the variance and the variety of the elements at the credit that are a derivation, I would say, or something like this, derivatives of the credit, you probably will have difficult to cover this by real money, and then you try to drag and attach the payment for the capital asset or something like this, because you had broken the limit of the credit to be covered by the resource available. It's the basic, in the essence of the economy, you have limited resources. And cryptocurrencies on present time, down the dumps and affecting even the stock markets on USA, because as you could observe, all involved in pandemic crime by pandemic system like communication, finances. The integration of both give us the fintech, and the fintech as misuse with fake records from public department and corporate areas, but all unfortunately in the same situation as obstruction of justice. If the antitrust justice is having this, the trust scam go by the association and the interconnection from the internal failure connected with purpose to lead this at this way. And this is a trust scam, multi-level, with distribution of empowerment in the area economic by the Ponzi scam. The Ponzi scam going like this, if you had, in the way we are having, this big crisis on cryptocurrency that is very similar to the crack, I would say, at the real market on 2008, I think, during one specific administration in USA. By similarity, you can observe which problems come since that time until the present time to understand the relation between America and Europe as financial center and the continuity of failure, until have the spreaded gains during all those years that you couldn't have on your statement by the tolerance assumed as having criminal result as something legal, and then using, for instance, the stars to have as having a site or website, the commerce, and having the insertion of money to listen some music or something like this offshore, and insertion at the digital space and without replacement, because indeed you are acting with the misuse as intellectual asset and property, having those stars with the reducing their capacity to do the evaluation about the effects and circumstances by a lot of things and stimulus, most of them forbidden, and but things in the way things are on present time. And you have this big breakdown at the fintech and the cryptocurrency as segment, we are having a lot of economies going with them all to the dumps. Some of them with 85% as damage, as loss, that it's broken, it's bankrupt in the entire sector, because this entire sector indeed was an illusion. Any question? We'll finish this piece here and maybe we will not have the second piece because I think that's not necessary.